Welcome back into Queen City News Now. Fall foliage could soon become a thing of the past. Why our chances of seeing the changing colors of autumn could be limited coming up in the future. Joining us this morning, we have App State professor Dr. Howard Neufeld joining us to talk about the changing of the leaves. Dr. Neufeld, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. First, I want to kind of mention that the changing of the seasons are upon us. The autumnal equinox coming on September 22nd, 9:04 p.m. And with that, we start seeing the changing colors of the leaves. When would be the optimal time when the Carolinas starts to see the change?
Well, we have such a great elevational range here that the times vary. So if you're at high elevations, they'll start the end of September and the first week of October. If you're riding on the parkway, say between Blowing Rock and Grandfather Mountain, Lynn Cove Viaduct, around 3,000, 4,000 feet, that would be mid-October, say the 10th through the 18th. And then each week, the colors start to move down slope. So places like Asheville that are around 2,000 feet, the foothills would be the last part of October. And then when you get down to like Stone Mountain State Park and Chimney Rock State Park, which are below 2,000 feet, it would be in the beginning of November.
Now, I wanted to ask, because I know this past summer, a lot of folks know how hot it's been, how humid we've been. And also, we've seen a number of days hitting 90 degrees, as well as the drought conditions, which have kind of eased up a little bit. And even with this weekend, with a lot of rainfall, how does the summer season impact the length of fall foliage that we see in the Carolinas?
Well, surprisingly, the summer actually doesn't have that big of an effect unless it's a severe drought and the leaves fall off before they change color. But the month that has the biggest impact is September and then the beginning of October. If it starts to get cool in September and it stays that way through October, then we have really bright colors and they appear on time. If it's warmer, and the long-range NOAA forecast suggests it might be warm all the way through October, that tends to delay the onset of color. And if it stays warm, it'll tend to broaden it out so that it lasts longer into the month.
So honing into the ingredients behind what exactly goes into the changing of the colors of the leaves, because I kind of want to, I have a graphic here for some of the things that play into the changing of the leaves, but what exactly are we seeing in this process when we start seeing the greens turn to the vibrant reds, the browns, and the colors that we admire so much?
Yeah, so of course, right now, most of the trees are still green, and that's chlorophyll, and that's what they use to capture light for photosynthesis. But underneath that chlorophyll are two other pigments, xanthophylls, which are yellow, and carotenoids, which are orange, same thing that makes carrots orange. So in the fall, when the days get shorter and cooler, the plant stops making the chlorophyll, breaks down, and then the yellow and the orange colors are revealed. But interestingly, the red color has to be made in the fall. It's not underneath the chlorophyll. And the best conditions to make bright red colors are these crisp, clear, sunny fall days and cool nights. And then the plant can make a lot of that red pigment and you get that really bright, vibrant color.
You mentioned the crisp, sunny fall days, and we've been talking a lot recently when it comes to climate change and how we've been seeing the increasing temperatures around the world. How can climate change actually limit the amount of time that we have to enjoy fall foliage? Because we already know that it's a limited window as it is already.
Yeah, so if it's warmer than normal, again, as I said earlier, it will delay the start of the colors, and sometimes it'll dull the red colors, and then it'll also spread it out. Some trees react more to day length than temperature, so the ones that depend on day length, they'll turn color at their same time, but the ones that depend on temperature might be delayed, and so therefore, instead of having a big burst of color all at one time, you have it spread out. Some trees start early, some are in the middle, and some are much later. And so that's one of the things. The rising CO2 can also have an effect on it. It can delay the onset of the colors. And the long-term thing, if you think in generations, might be if we get too much warming, trees will have to move to cooler habitats. And so some of the species may actually move either upslope or out of North Carolina.
Wow. Well, when you mentioned the tree species, I imagine that the different species would interact and kind of change differently. What are species that we find here in the Western Carolinas, and how does that play into some of the colors that we see?
So some of the unique species that we have here are trees like sourwood, which has really nice red, deep red leaves, and then a white splay of seeds on top of it. That's kind of unique to the Southern Appalachians. Then we have like a lot of maples. The red maples turn red. The sugar maples can be anywhere from yellow to orange to red. Sassafras is very common in the mountains, and it's interesting because it could be almost all the colors at the same time. You could find green, orange, yellow, red, all on the same tree at the same time. So we have a much greater diversity of tree species than, say, up in New England. We have approximately 140 different tree species here in the Southern Appalachians, so it gives us a good palette of color.
Yeah, I love that. And now is the time to kind of start thinking ahead, as you mentioned, kind of late October when you want to start making the trips to see some of that peak fall foliage. Dr. Howard Neufeld, a biology professor at Appalachian State University, we appreciate you being with us this morning, and I appreciate the passion in helping us find the changing colors of the leaves.
Thank you so much for having me.